Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Mondays is my good friend, Michele Berra. Michele, what's up?
Well, it's been too long since we had one of those nights.
Man,
um,
we're back. Like, we
yeah,
are
we're
so
back.
back. It's kind of how it feels after that one. I mean, it is hard to describe what it was like to be in that building last night and especially for a win. I mean, it was electric from, I don't know, an hour outside of tip.
Yeah,
And when people talk about, oh, this game felt like a playoff game or that game felt like a playoff game, no, like that was unlike anything I've been to in a very long time. I mean, I think
mhm,
like genuinely, the last time that I felt the arena like that was Game 6 of 2016.
okay,
I that's like the only thing I can compare it to. And there wasn't like the same. It was different, a different vibe because there was like a nervousness that existed in the building at that time. But like when describing like the level of energy that was there, it was tip top. I mean, shout out to Oklahoma City, shout out to Loud City. Loud City's officially back. I mean, I had some doubts just because I hadn't seen it in a while and hadn't seen it this season. No offense to the regular season crowd, but hadn't seen that. Nothing close to that. Not even like 80% of that.
wow,
That
okay,
was, I mean, it was for real. And so, huge shout out to the fans. I do wonder if being in that environment for the first time just got these guys. I mean, I think it might like get you like overhyped. Like you don't know what to
yeah,
do with it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it is unlike anything like any of those guys have ever experienced playing basketball. J-Dub J-Dub said it after the game. He was like, I played at Santa Clara. Like we played in a lot of empty gyms.
yeah,
He had never experienced anything like that as a basketball player.
yeah,
And so I think there was like this level of hype that pushed to a even different level. And you could see it early on. Like it was they were taking some shots and not like they were like horrible shots or anything, but you could see like some of like the intent of these shots was like, let me get this crowd just lit on fire. Like they're like the crowd is just waiting for anything to just like attach themselves to.
yeah,
And you could see them like just pressing a little bit. And I think that I think it's good. One, it's amazing that they won this game.
hmm
Still like kind of had these like first game jitters and kind of playing through just kind of the muck that was game one. Um, it's amazing. It gives you a pretty nice cushion for the Thunder. But man, I am still like I hardly slept last night, but like even just like being a part of that, like being there, like I still just kind of feel like I'm buzzing a little bit because it was such a ridiculous environment.
yeah. I mean, you could tell from the telecast. I listened to the TNT one. Um, it was loud. At moments, you could not hear like very clearly the telecast because it was so loud. And yeah, I mean, it was a game that I think both teams played in a similar way. Like they had a lot of misses from three. They had very good defenses overall. And on one hand, maybe it's early to get into the weeds of the game. But I think that the Pels played an awesome game, the
Yeah,
best game that they could defensively. They
yeah,
made life so hard for OKC, and they played with such a great effort. And this is why they were always there. I mean, they never went away. They have players like Najee Marshall, who was kind of an afterthought before the series. Who would have thought that he was like crucial in the play and in game one
yeah.
of the series? He was very, very good. I mean,
Mm.
they had ways to clog the paint and to just make life so hard for J-Dub and Shea. Um, but they had to be perfect. They had to be perfect to be even in the same ball game
Mm.
than OKC, shooting in the same way. So I think that OKC has a lot of ways, natural ways, to improve what they did. And I'm leaving away all the shooting percentage because that is for both teams. It was abnormal. I mean, the Pels are a very good team in terms of shooting the ball. So are the Thunder, and they both shoot very poorly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the volume of threes, for example, and the way in which they attack switches, OKC had, I mean, they can do much better. They can do much, much better. There is a question in the chat whether they could attack CJ more. Yeah, they can. I mean, there was a time where Shea like called for for a screen on Alvarado's guy, and it just made a basket. If it was not even there, I mean, he just shot the ball on top of him without being even bothered by anything. So I think that there are lessons, there are ways to improve on that end. But the Pels are here to make it a grind and a fight, like the good old Memphis days. So it's not necessarily an easy series or a short series. It's something where OKC has to improve a lot. But I think that game one gave us a lot of very interesting individual points, together with the fact that this group of guys is just amazing. I mean, the fact that they won the game, the fact that they didn't let it go, the fact that even if something was not going in for them and the normal stuff were not working, they grinded out up
Mm-hmm.
until the very last second, like trusting each other's, not making hero plays, especially late. This is incredible that a group this young is able to do this. So yeah, impressive.
Yeah, it really was impressive. There were so many corner threes from both teams that were just. I mean, I think the Pelicans only made one corner three. I think the
Yeah,
Thunder only made. Did they only make
three.
three corner threes?
Yeah,
I mean, it was an abysmal night, and like both teams created some really nice open looks from three. I don't
yeah,
think it was necessarily that. Oh my gosh! I mean, the Thunder got lucky that the Pelicans missed a ton. The Pelicans got lucky. The Thunder missed a ton too.
yeah,
I think that, I mean, that to me kind of balances out what happened there with the luck. And it just came down to making plays at the end. And I've loaded a few clips here into StreamYard just because I think it's worth looking back at. I want to get to the super chat before I forget about it from Hotspot Casino. He said, "Great win. To feel comfortable beating this team, we need to push the pace in open spaces. They're playing us too close on the ball." Yeah, I mean, I think they need to play fast, try to play faster, and they need to try to take more threes. I
yeah.
agree. Like they need to space out. They need to create more open lanes, and I think they will. I think that will happen. Um, let's go to what I think is such an interesting point in the game. The Thunder are down 88-90, and Shea hits this pull-up shot that I think is one of the more important shots of the game. And Shea, who had looked, by the way, pretty bad in the fourth quarter up until this point.
Yeah.
He had turned the like very uncharacteristic, like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Like, what's going on with Shea?
He got blocked like
Moments.
twice.
Yeah, he has jumper blocked. He's turned the ball over. It was just not great. And then he hits this jumper.
Look at the drought for the Thunder. No field goals in more than 5 minutes. Gilgeous-Alexander, money on the table, and he buries it.
So 136 left, and they had teed us up perfectly because the Thunder hadn't scored in 5 minutes. Hadn't scored a field goal in 5 minutes. It was just really, really rough. And obviously, like the physicality of the game was big time. But I think that shot was huge to tie it at 90. And it was like, it felt, and Alex was texting this in the chat, in our group text, like it felt like a college basketball game. Because like normally in an NBA game, 2 points or 5 points doesn't feel like a whole lot. Like in this game, like every bucket that you scored just felt so much bigger than like what it did in a regular NBA game. And some of that's the playoffs. Some of that is like this specific game too felt that way. And that shot to me, obviously we'll get to the other like essentially game-winning shot for SGA. But I thought that particular shot was really, really big for the Thunder in that moment. Just to get like, hey, let's calm down. Let's tie the game up. Let me get to like my sweet spot and knock down this jumper.
Yeah, and it came after like a long exchange between Greg Anthony and I don't remember the name of the lead guy from TNT. They were saying, "Hey, if you're an MVP, this is the moment where you just seize the game and make it own. Let's see if you shake it. Oh, we can. Okay." like it was almost as if they called it. And yeah, Shea had a very rough game in terms of efficiency, in terms of choices, in terms of results. The Pels made a great job at sandwiching him with two guys, and the passes were not as quick for OKC because it's not easy to pass into like the crowd that the Pels can make with their defenders. And this ties with one comment that we had in the chat about, well, if the Pels played Valanciunas late in game, they would have destroyed OKC. I don't feel that is the case because Nance is not the same player offensively, but defensively he gives the Pels a different look.
The Pels were -2 with Valanciunas on the court. By the way, it's not like they just like crushed the Thunder.
Yeah,
on the scoreboard.
It was basically a draw. And it was more like, yes, there is a clear way in which if he can get positioning down low, then they can score. But I'm not sure that this is how they want to play OKC because I mean it's okay. Like Valanciunas was not super duper efficient. Yes, he took 20 rebounds, and yes, they controlled them whenever he was on the court. But it's not necessary that those were the looks and or the pace in which they want to play a team like OKC. So I'm not convinced that is an answer where, yeah, for sure, if Jonas played, then this is a different game. It's surely a different game, but I'm not sure if it's a different result.
Yeah, and with the Thunder, and Alex had this stat that the Thunder, when somebody grabs 18 or more offensive rebounds, the Thunder are 5-2. That's happened in 7 games.
Yeah.
So it hasn't killed them. Like I think people need to recognize that. Like, yes, they are getting killed on the boards. Has it happened all season? Yes. Has it been better actually lately? Yeah, it's been better. And I thought actually Chet did great in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they kind of let go of the rope a little bit in the third quarter. And that's when they got a little bit loose. And there was a specific possession where they got like 4 offensive rebounds. Where it was like shot, offensive rebound, shot, offensive rebound.
And the point is that the Pels were not able to always generate good shots, which is a testament of how OKC was wired defensively. And I don't think that this is necessarily a Chet thing. There's one possession who clearly shows, and it's not just one, but it's one that I vividly remember. J-Dub was on Murph, and there is a shot, I think, from, I would say Alvarado, but maybe it's not. But the point is, like, Chet really boxes out well Valanciunas. And initially, J-Dub does on Murph. But then as soon as he sees the ball rebounding on the iron, he focuses on the ball and not on boxing out. And Murph is quicker than him. So these little things are the veteran stuff that these guys have to learn. I have to resist to the temptation of getting after the board if I'm guarding a guy that is probably better than me at getting that board. This is simple, simply said, but very hard to do. And it has nothing to do with Chet Holmgren. Like literally nothing. It's the entire team that has to really focus on these little things. It's not something that you learn throughout the season, and it's not something that a great rebounder solves completely. Because yes, a great rebounder probably gets that rebound while boxing out Valanciunas, but it's that one. It's not the majority of them. So I think that they can solve the issue by just focusing on these little details. And again, it was not the problem why OKC was down with 136 to go. It's that they were in a drought of 5 minutes. Like without a shot. The defense was fine. The rebounding was fine. They just had to make more shots and to generate better looks from 3, I would say.
Yeah. And this was another play of the game, was this Chet block, which came at the end of like an awful sequence of events for the Thunder. This was actually after Shea had tied it up at 90, and he felt like, okay, like let's go get a stop. And it felt like it just, the arena, you could just feel like the energy like shift from like so positive to so negative really fast because of the offensive rebound after offensive rebound. I think they had 1, 2, 3 offensive rebounds in a row on one possession, and it just felt like a backbreaker. But then this happened.
Now with under a minute to go, McCollum to Nance. Oh, got blocked. What a rejection by Holmgren. Standing tall like a wall.
Wow.
I mean, that
was
so
close.
It was at the absolute tip-top apex of where that shot could be. And it was, I mean, you just watch it. It's as high as he could possibly go, and he gets to it. That was unbelievable. What an unbelievable play. And one that could have really backfired. And it was funny because Chet was like, J-Dub was kind of giving him trouble in post game and saying like, he's calling it a goaltend. Chet kind of looked over at us and was like, was it a goaltend? Like, no, like obviously not.
It's very close.
But it was really close. And what a play. Like the guy was just trying to make a play on the ball. Like that was huge. And then it teed up this shot from Shea, which is kind of cool that like all these kind of happen in sequence. Like this is how you win games. Like you have to like meet the moment. And the Thunder did it consistently. And here was like what I think is probably the biggest play of the game.
Gilgeous-Alexander guarded by McCollum. Chisels into the paint, flicks it up and in, and contact.
I don't know how. I just like, let's watch it one more time because it's an absurd shot. I mean,
look at Chet afterwards. How stressed he is about this.
He's so off balance too. Like there's no balance. There's no form. It's just like he just like shoves the ball up as he's getting fouled. And because like his core strength and because he works on this stuff, like Shea works on weird shots all the time. And like this is where that pays off.
Gilgeous-Alexander guarded by McCollum. Chisels into the paint, flicks it up and in, and contact.
What a moment. I mean, that was huge. He makes the free throw, obviously. Then the Pelicans go get a quick bucket. CJ McCollum goes in and gets a quick jumper. And the Thunder are only up 1. And then Chet goes to the free throw line. And Chet misses the first one. And almost because it was strange. Because I know like the fans like, okay, let's get quiet so that he can make this shot. But it was like almost too big of a shift in environment, for it to like be helpful to him. It was almost like, it was just like this like dead silence that almost felt creepy. And he misses the first one and luckily made the second one. And then comes this possession where Cason Wallace is in the game and he plays CJ really well. And I want to talk about this play. Let's watch it and then let's talk about it.
Was poked away, 4 seconds. McCollum, the fake, the fire, no, and it's over.
It was not that far now that I rewatched it.
Oh my gosh, let's watch it one more time. I'm actually kind of feeling stressed when I'm watching it. Okay.
Was poked away, 4 seconds. McCollum, the fake, the fire, no, and it's over.
Would have been a great shot by CJ.
I mean, I was saying this on Thunder After Dark last night. Like, I don't want to take away from Cason and what he was able to do in that moment because he really met the moment too.
Yeah.
But CJ got a good look at it.
Yeah. It was a good look.
He got a really good look at it.
It looked worse live for some reason, but it was like kind of clean.
Yeah, I mean he's not on balance. He's leaning forward. It's not an easy shot. Like it's really not. Cason did all that he could. It wasn't a contested shot, but it was a forced, strange like angle that he had to like get himself into. But CJ stepped through, he almost made it. He almost made that shot. And Kaysen did a good job with the ball pressure, and like the story of the game now shifts to Kaysen Wallace. What a hero. He's a rookie. Can you believe he's a rookie? Wow, he's this, that, it's great. And it's amazing. But like there's a world where CJ McCollum makes that shot and like you're cooked. And like that's the game. And CJ walks off. And so I'm not trying to say that this was not a good play by him. It was. He created a really tough three. But boy, looking back at it, and I was looking back at it this morning again, I was like, man, let's look at it one more time because it is. I mean, this is a huge deal. Yeah,
now that you are watching it again, CJ. The only thing one of the good things that Kaysen does is not giving CJ the contact because CJ is clearly after it.
Oh, he's looking. Yes, absolutely looking for the contact. He did a great job of making it difficult and making him work while also not fouling. Which I would say that maybe, and I think it's a great point because I think maybe that is like the biggest thing because he's never been in this situation. He's never played a playoff game. He's never been the guy to, I mean, it was clearly going to be CJ. It was not going to be Brandon Ingram trying to get this shot. You know, Trey Murphy is amazing, but he's not going to generate his own shot. It was going to have to be CJ. And you give credit to Kaysen Wallace for closing, the game like you did. Let's just watch it one more time just to put you guys just through the stress ringer one more time.
Just poked away, 4 seconds. McCollum, the fake, the fire, no, and it's over.
Whew. That's great. And then I also wanted to highlight one shot from Kaysen Wallace that I just really liked.
Yeah.
One that I hadn't really seen. I don't think I've ever seen him do this before. Where
I'm sure it's the first. I'm sure
gets the ball high. This is just like Anthony Morrow used to do, where you don't you don't dip the ball at all. Like he catches the ball high and just immediately shoots it. And I was looking around at other people I was sitting with, and we were all just like, "Wait, have you seen that before? Does he do this?" I thought this was kind of a cool shot.
Here comes Holmgren. Looking for early offense. Wallace, corner pocket three.
That was a good shot.
That's just beautiful. I thought he was really good.
I remember when it was a story that KD through one off season learned how to do that from Anthony Morrow.
Yeah,
and I mean for Kaysen to even try it in a playoff game, that is quite nice.
Yeah,
but I mean. Yes, you can say that the final part of Kaysen's defense was not elite because he basically fails to stay in front after the fake, which is something that, I mean, if you remember the defense that Dort played on Kawhi late in the game against the Clippers, this is how you defend these kind of shots. You really give just the pump fake kind of thing with the hand in your face. But to withstand the first penetration, like with the body, like containing another, like try to go hard right, and then biting on a last second chance, which I mean CJ can really raise up and hit that shot. It's not a bad sequence. It's really not a bad sequence, and the fact that he was not scared of the moment, that he was able to take those shots, signals to me that, I mean, Kaysen is here to play, not to just be someone who, okay, this is my first rodeo, maybe there is someone else. He wants it, and it's so cool that Mark Daigneault that basically knows, hey, this is either CJ or probably Ingram, but Ingram is having like a hard time because Lou Dort is amazing. I'll trust Kaysen on it.
Yeah,
like I'll trust Kaysen Wallace on it.
It speaks volumes. And also, like, remember, like, he's one of the youngest guys on the team. I think he is the youngest guy on the team, and a guy that has like room to grow, room to get better. And I mean, he had 5 points, a rebound, and an assist. It's not like the guy like lit it up like crazy, but he just was there in like really big moments. And like, if you have the mentality to be there in crucial moments like this, and you can play 20 minutes a night in a playoff game. Because I mean, that's what he played in the regular season, and it actually like leads into like a point that I was wanting to make today is that they kind of did what they've done all regular season. You know, they
Maybe
played
11 guys.
Yeah, they played 11 guys. They trusted their guys. I mean, really the only guy Gordon Hayward was not very good in this game. He had a couple he had like a deflection I thought was good, like had a couple defensive actions that were good, was uninvolved in the offense.
That's so bad.
It wasn't great. He did not have good minutes. But when you look at Jay Will, Kenrich, Isaiah Joe, Wiggins, and Cason Wallace, it's like all those guys contributed something. You know, like I thought Kenrich had some nice moments as a defender. He had that little 2-man game with Cason Wallace to get them a bucket, which felt big at the time. I thought all those guys contributed. Like if you want to say like Gordon Hayward shouldn't play, like I get it. Like it was not a good game for Gordon, and he needs to be like more involved. Needs to be taking threes. Needs to be able to help
just take them. Just
take them.
Give yourself a chance to take them.
Generate some offense. Like that's the thing that's crazy is like I truly believe like he's one of the best shooters on the team.
Yeah,
I truly believe that, and I just don't know where it is. I don't know where the jumper is. I don't know why they can't generate a corner three for him or what's going on there. But everybody else, like Jay Will in 7 minutes was really good. I thought he was really good on JV. I thought that those 2 threes that he made were really crucial. He had 2 boards, 2 assists, and a steal. I thought he was really good. I mentioned Kenrich's defense. Isaiah Joe, like you just have to play Isaiah Joe, like no options. And then even Wiggins.
Maybe more for Isaiah Joe, a bit more, please.
Yeah, and I think that we may see, and they didn't play Giddey a whole lot. They played him 20 minutes in this game. But if they're not going to cross match, because I think it's kind of funny because like the cross matching actually started to help Josh down the stretch of the season, specifically against the Pelicans when the last time that they played, and we highlighted a few plays on the preview where Giddey was matched up with Valanciunas and was able to take advantage of it. And if he does have like a long rangy defender on him instead, he's not as effective. And so it's not as easy for him to generate offense. And so I'm not like writing off Josh in this series by any means. You know, I think that he can still bounce back and have some good minutes for them. But all this to say, the Thunder kind of like did their thing last night with regards to rotations. And like Mark clearly has like some trust like that goes like really deep into this roster. And with the kind of guys that they are, like I kind of don't blame him. Like there's a lot of good contributors on this team. I think that like if Aaron Wiggins didn't play last night, or if Cason Wallace didn't play last night, or even Jay Will didn't play last night, I think we'd be sitting here talking about like, well, why I wish they would have given this guy a shot or this guy a chance.
Yeah. And I do think that probably the least productive of that bench unit, except for Hayward, is Kenrich, which in general for me is a good news because I know I can rely on Kenrich Williams to have better games going forward. I think that Jay Will is probably going to play more because I mean he was the best on JV. The shot was going in, which is something that you can know pretty quickly with Jay Will because he will let it fly. He will not be afraid. The plan was so clear from the beginning. We will take shots against drop coverage from Jonas Valanciunas. And if you take the threes that the big men took last night, it's 4 out of 10. That is how. And it's great offense. I venture that like on Wednesday, they should take more. Like just take maybe 15 of those. Try to do a couple of screens and then have JB's guys just outside bombing trees.
Yeah.
Because it's the price that they have to pay if they play Jonas Valanciunas. You have to do that.
Yeah.
And there were moments where on the opposite side of the spectrum where OKC had a few breakdowns defensively. And there are breakdowns that Mark can basically say, okay, let's play harder. Others that are unacceptable. And you can clearly see them when you leave Trey Murphy out from the 3-point line alone, that is a mistake that Dagnall does not accept. There was a moment where I think either Shea or Giddy were late closing out, and Dagnall was like, time out immediately. No, this cannot happen. Like to leave Trey Murphy open, that is not a thing. Herb Jones, that is a choice. That is a choice when you rotate. If you have to choose between stay attached to Herb Jones or help on Valanciunas, you do the first, and then you close out late on Herb. But Trey Murphy, no.
Yeah, no, you cannot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we have to speak about Dort because he
it took
made.
It took us too long to get to Dort, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
goes
he
on the
took
road.
two shots that I was so viscerally mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at the defense and say, okay, whatever. Like, yeah, okay, those shots are not perfect, but who cares? I mean, I think that Ingram is dreaming about it, well, he's having nightmares about him.
Yeah.
Like the next few nights. He was all over him. All over. For all the minutes that he played, it was like insane to watch. Like Ingram didn't get a single nice, clean shot.
Yep. It's true. It's true. Yeah, Dort shows up for big games. Always has. Every single big game that we've seen. Like he is in it and he's given everything that he's got. And Ingram was shut down in this one. 5 of 17, 0 of 2 from 3, only 2 free throws too.
Yeah.
For Ingram. Only 3 fouls for Dort. With the physical, just in your face. I mean, you don't win that game without Lou Dort. Like you just don't.
Yeah.
He played 35 minutes in this one. I think he could stand to play even more than that. You might just go ahead and match him all 37 minutes with Brandon Ingram. But, I thought like some of the switching that they did whenever they went a little bit smaller, like Kenrich did a good job too, on Ingram. And he did hit one turnaround shot on Kenrich that was not easy. And wasn't I don't honestly think there was anything that Kenrich could have done.
Yeah.
To change, that was just a shot that was going to go in. But yeah, I mean, all the credit to Dort on that one. And he hit some threes too. He hit a couple threes that were much needed. He hit that pull up 3 where he just kind of walked it up and took it. And I knew the distaste that you would have for such a shot, but like the dude just has guts. Like he just knows. There's nothing that scares Lou Dort. He was one that was ready for this. He was one where like the lights weren't too bright. He stepped up. He was ready. It is a big time win, and like Lou Dort is like near the top. Outside of like all the highlight plays that we mentioned with Shea and with Chet that led to this win. Like you don't put yourself in position and you don't hold the Pelicans to 92 points, and without against Dort, where they held the Blazers to 77. I'm trying to think. I mean, it wasn't like a season low for an opponent, but
no, I don't. I think they. I don't know. I don't remember. One other thing that I want to point out, we just briefly mentioned it, with the fact that like New Orleans was kind of afraid to go at Chet Holmgren, except for Jonas, who has his own way to put his body and do this hook shot. But the other guys, I mean, Chet had 5 blocks.
Yeah.
And those were not like blocks that I blocked the shot because he was forcing the block. No.
He was shutting the paint down.
Yeah.
Chet was so good. Chet was so good. My only critique of Chet is like take more threes. But like that's really it.
Yeah, take 10.
Yeah, take 10.
Take 10. If you hit 3, that's not great, but still okay. I mean, take 12. Like force Valanciunas to think 12 times. Should I go out or should I let him try?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they were 18 of 43 in the paint total. 13 of 23, 56% at the rim. 5 of 20 just like in the non-restricted area paint. 5 of 20, 25%.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is just Chet. Like that's like the effect of having Chet. And the Thunder didn't shoot great in the restricted area. The Thunder were only 13 of 28 themselves in the restricted area, 46%.
Yeah, that
Like,
was
there's just
part of those were bunnies.
Yeah. Oh yeah, without a doubt. And like that's something I think you can if you want to like say, hey, oh, this was an outlier here. There's an outlier. There's like several outliers. I think it was an outlier for the Pelicans to shoot as bad as they did in the paint. I think the same thing for the Thunder at the rim. I think it was an outlier for both teams in the corners. The 1 of 15 is crazy for them, but 3 of 10 is not good.
Yeah.
3 of 10 is definitely not good. And so I just think that both teams are going to be better offensively, that both teams will settle down a bit, and that the teams will start to make shots. And I just think, the Thunder are the better team, from top to bottom. And part of it is like Trey Murphy's really good. How many? I need to look and see how many times Trey Murphy's made 5 threes in a game, because 5 threes is a lot.
Not a small number of times, I think.
Let's see.
But not like more than 10. Let's put it this way.
Trey, how many times has he hit 5 threes in a game this season? Would you like to guess?
7.
He's done it 11 times.
Oh, okay.
This season.
That's not bad.
It's pretty good. So
Murphy's a gunner. I do think that the staff, the players, will not take this victory as we are taking it now.
Like,
I think that
about it.
no, and the fact that we won that game and we need to feel good about it.
I didn't particularly think they felt great about it. I think that I think they know that there's a lot to clean up, and some of that's the 13 turnovers. Some of them were just completely unforced.
Yeah, bad turnovers.
Unnecessary.
Yeah. So, which is a good thing. You need to go in game 2 as if you lost that one. Yeah. And like trying to really push and destroy them. The thing that they played 11 guys, to me, is such a good thing. Because every minute weights on your legs, even if you are a young guy. And so the fact that they are just a tiny bit less stressed than what they could have been by playing 8 guys, I think it's good. I think that there will be some cleanups in terms of in terms of lineups, because I don't think they will play again 11 guys. Maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe they will.
I'm not so sure about that.
No, maybe they will play. They will, but maybe they will balance out the best lineups by playing them a tiny bit more. Maybe. I know. But at some point, I'm not saying 8 games. I'm not saying 8 guys. I'm saying maybe 10 instead of 11.
Yeah. I think to me, 10 instead of 11 makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I was not going to 8. Come on, you know me. And we know Mark Degnan.
Well, I don't know. Like, we may have people that are like listening in on this show that haven't watched the Thunder all season, and haven't paid attention to what they do. But like, this is the Thunder, and they also very much pride themselves in the way that they got here. They're not gonna deviate from it. It won them 57 games, got them to the top of the Western Conference. They're not gonna suddenly say, hey, we got to the playoffs, now we're gonna do something completely different. Their mentality is, this is what got us here, and this is how we're gonna keep going. Now, to me, I still think you should trim it to 10. I think that makes sense. I think if you took Gordon Hayward's minutes out of there and you gave more to Wiggins or to Kenrich, or even like gave more to one of the starters, I think like that is probably a better recipe for you. But I really thought everybody else gave you just some really good, solid minutes. And I don't necessarily think that Gordon's minutes are going away. As much as that's going to be a talking point amongst Thunder fans today. I just wouldn't expect that. No, I'm not saying that I don't hope that he doesn't play, because I just don't think that I don't think that he should, but I wouldn't put the expectation in that he won't.
Yeah.
I do think like there's still a belief in him, and part of that comes from just what he has been his whole career, and like perhaps he can have a Nicholas Batum game. Nicholas Batum didn't have a Nicholas Batum game all year until he did.
Yeah. Yeah, where I think that you can do a little bit more is let's just play Chet a tiny bit more.
I know.
35 minutes, maybe play him a little bit with Shea in those lineups. Play some Isaiah Joe, Shea, Chet,
Yes.
Kaysen.
10 threes, please. Like that needs I know that they wouldn't ever I know that the way they operate, they don't go out there saying, "Hey, you need to get a certain amount."
Yeah.
But I would like it if they did. I would like it if they would get Chet 10 threes. I think he needs to have double-digit threes. I think there is room to create that, especially if they're going to play Valanciunas almost 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, go get 10 threes. Go get 10 threes.
Yeah.
And you may have a game where you make 6 of them. And if you do, like that to me is going to be how the Thunder like blow out the Pelicans. Is like that they take advantage of these Valanciunas minutes. They make the threes. They make them pay in those moments for playing bigger and not cross matching, because like part of the cross match, and we've talked about this, part of the cross match is the Giddy thing, and then part of it is Chet. And I actually asked Willie Green about it before the game last night, and like the first thing out of his mouth was not really about Josh. It was more about like Chet. It's like, well, we just have a hard time with Chet picking and popping.
Yeah.
And so I just think that they need to generate more threes there for Chet specifically. And then Chet can be a good decision maker out of that position too, where maybe he could generate a three himself. If somebody comes over to help, then you can kick it over to Isaiah Joe or whoever's over there. Like, we're also due for an Isaiah Joe game at some point.
If you play him a little bit more, maybe.
Play him a little. Yeah, and that's where I think if you did trim it to 10, like you could get more minutes for him. And 10 is still a lot for playoff standards, and it just shows the depth of the Thunder and like the trust level that they have with their roster.
Yeah.
So, and I know we would feel a lot different if that CJ McCollum shot went down.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it definitely feels great to have a W instead of a. Can you imagine like all day? Yeah, we told them this is a series that OKC will lose, and it can still happen. I mean, they didn't win anything, but it's surely better to have this kind of a game and to just being able to play in the clutch, to execute just a tiny little bit better than the Pels, and come up with a victory. Because again. It's better to play this way and win than playing awesome basketball and being steamrolled. So
yeah,
this is great analysis. I know that this is exactly why you listen to Down to Dunk. But anyway, no, I mean, and again, it gives you a little bit of an edge.
Yeah. Oh, I think it gives you a huge edge. I think honestly, whoever came away from that game with the W feels like they stole it, because I think both teams feel like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're playing this way. I can't believe this is happening, to us. I can't believe that we've hit this like bad luck streak. I think if both teams walk away feeling like that, and then whoever was going to win, and if you don't, I mean, you're the home team, you're the number 1 seed versus the 8th seed. You don't steal game 1. I get that, but it kind of felt like it, down the stretch of that one, that like, man, the Thunder really stole this from the Pelicans, because the way that Murph was shooting it, the way that they were grabbing rebounds, the way that they had controlled the glass, and it wasn't just Valanciunas who was big, but like Nance was really good too. Like that big sequence where they were getting offensive rebound after offensive rebound, like that was with Nance out there, and Nance was the one who, I don't know why he thought he had a prayer with that floater, but Chet swatted that thing out of the sky, and like that's a part of that story now. But man, Thunder stole one. They're up 1-0 against the Pelicans. You got to be feeling good as a Thunder fan today. If you're at the game, man, I do want to shout out all the dunkers that were at the game. It was great to just see people that love the show out there. It meant a lot to me. I had people that people that I had met, several times, and people that I consider friends of mine, coming up and talking. And then, people that I'd never met before, coming up and telling me that they listened to the show and got to hand out stickers. I'll have stickers at game 2 as well. So if you want a Down to Dunk sticker, just come find me. I sit at the top of 104. There's a guy who came like hunted me down up there. You're more than welcome to come and just holler at me. I sit toward the closer to mid court in 104. So come say hello. Would love to talk to you. Would love to give you a Down to Dunk sticker. If you want to be in a video, I'll be editing these videos this afternoon. But if you want to be in a video, I will be outside the arena again Wednesday before the game. And I'll be doing some trivia and just having a little fun. So if you'd like to be in a video, would love to have you there as well. But shout out to the Dunkers out in full force yesterday. Lots of dog shirts out there. Tons of them. That was really cool to see as well. Yamology asked a question in the chat. How loud were the barks in person? They were very loud. It was hilarious. It was amazing hearing the crowd bark after anything that J Dub or J Will did. I mean, what an amazing crowd. Like, I can't speak enough of how amazing the crowd was. That was like, it exceeded my expectations by a lot. And
Can you imagine this crowd in a brand new arena?
I sure can. God, I cannot wait for that too. Man, what a ride we're going to have with this team. Greenlight says that Trey Mann was at the game. Yeah, Trey Mann was at the game. I was first alerted to this by my kids, who Trey went and signed autographs for people. And my 2 oldest sons were there getting autographs, and, and they're like, Trey Mann is here. Trey Mann came and signed my, pamphlet or whatever. I was like, oh, that's crazy. And then I saw Trey after the game in the hallway and got to like speak to him for a little bit. Just absolutely delightful guy. And I wish him nothing but the best. He lives here. He had just had a kid, and they did not move to Charlotte quite yet. So I'm sure that they'll make some kind of move at some point, whether that's like back to Florida or to Charlotte or whatever, but they decided to stay here. And so now Trey is back in Oklahoma City watching the game. It's just delightful. Just a great guy. I wish it would have worked out for Trey here because he's such a fun player. But it was cool to like see like that brotherhood, because he's like out like standing back by the locker room, after the game, in the tunnel. So I mean, that's just really cool. It speaks volumes to like the Thunder organization, because like you could like feel slighted. You could feel like, man, because this is fresh. Like, this just happened. Like, they just traded him not very long ago, and he decided, that his relationship with those guys is really tight, and so it was just cool to see Trey at the game. All right, what adjustments do you think that we'll see from OKC? I've got a little bit of time before we need to go, but thoughts on like adjustments that you would like to see for OKC?
I think that playing J Will a little bit more, because I think that the small lineup didn't really work. Maybe with a little bit more shots going in, that lineup could still make sense. But I think that J Will played well enough. This is not really an adjustment. Something that was mentioned on the chat was, hey, how do we get more shots on CJ? This is something where OKC has to be more intentional. Like, you can get that that matchup. The only thing that you really need to be aware is that as soon as you do that, there is a double team coming all the time. So you need to be either very quick or punishing that double team. And the Pels were really good at basically making that extra pass very difficult. So you need to do that more because you want to expose CJ. There are at least 2 guys that can really expose CJ in one-on-one situation, Shea and J-Dub. And you want to do that multiple times. And then, again, if the double team comes, then someone is open. So if you attack CJ with 2 shooters in the corners, that is good offense right there. Mm-hmm. So this is something that I think OKC needs to do a little bit more. They are punishing Jonas Valanciunas great with pick and pops. You can also make them pay by doing that with CJ's man a little bit more. Like first you screen with CJ man, so you have CJ on the ball, and then you try to play the guy who guards Valanciunas, so that you have basically both Valanciunas and CJ in the same pick and roll setting, which is something they did at times. I do wonder if they search a little bit more for matchups and not like just playing Herb Jones one-on-one. That shot by Shea, by the way, was getting Herb Jones one-on-one, and it was the cleanest shot that he got from the entire night. So I don't know.
Yeah, I also think they have to limit Herb Jones's 3-point attempts, and some of that is like, off. Huh?
Do you think that they should limit that?
What did I say? Did I say Herb Jones? What did I say?
You said Herb Jones, yes.
I did not mean Herb Jones. I'm like, my
Okay.
brain is in 30 different places right now. Apologies. Trey Murphy.
Oh
They
yeah,
got to limit Trey Murphy's 3-point attempts. He had 12. Like, then they have to do a better job. And some of that was like Giddey was his man, and Giddey's like trying to help middle, and then he's trying to recover. And Trey can like shoot off movement a little bit too.
Yeah.
And so you just have to stay with him. And
but
so
why help middle when with Trey Murphy's guy? You don't have to do that.
yeah, I would glue somebody to him. Like, I just wouldn't
Fine
allow
if it's-
I
fine
wouldn't
if it's
allow him
in-
to take 12.
Yeah,
You know.
well,
Yeah, I just wouldn't. I think that you have to figure out a way to keep him from taking that many threes. And I think if you do that, you're going to help yourself quite a bit, because his 5 threes was a massive reason why they were able to stay afloat and like help them kind of get back in the game. You know, when the Thunder are down 10, like the fact that he was able to get some clean looks and make some threes was a huge part of the story. And the thing that's really tough with Trey is that he'll take really deep threes.
Yeah.
You know, like 3 or 4 feet behind the NBA line. And it gets harder to defend if you don't have somebody glued to him. Now, the good thing is, like, he's not creating off the dribble. He's creating off the catch. And so you have to, and this is why you may want to use Jay, Will, and Chet as a tandem together a little bit in different moments, just because if they're not getting as many offensive rebounds, they're not going to be able to kick out, because like they got killed a couple times with Trey getting open looks off of an offensive rebound. So that to me is like a big one defensively. It's just 12 is way too many. Way too many.
I also wonder if they will employ Dort, Kaysen, Dub, Shea, Chet lineups a little bit more, where you don't have someone where the Pels can hide in terms of, well, not hide, to exploit defensively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you can put CJ guarding Kaysen with CJ, the opposite, sorry, and then having maybe Shea on Herb Jones and J-Dub on Trey Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something where you may do a little bit more. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So interested to see what happens on Wednesday night here in Oklahoma City. We will be back to talk about it. I need to figure out how we're going to handle that one, because I don't want so many. I don't want, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'll have something to fill in the gap there for sure. Just because I don't want it to just be so many previews of game 2. Then like you have to wait 2 days for your recap of game 2. So we'll figure out the right way to handle game 2. Alex and I may just wait to go until Wednesday night after the game and just do post-game recap of it, and I'll just never sleep again.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
I think that's the best way to handle it. So I look forward to this. I am grateful. I'm beyond grateful to be able to do this, to be able to hang out with you guys on this Monday afternoon. Got tons of people in the chat. Hey, if you could just like do me a favor, if you're listening on YouTube right now, got tons of people listening on YouTube. Just like the video, make a comment on the video, a positive comment, just like and comment, get a conversation going with somebody in the chat. Something like that would help us out a lot. And then just share it. If you know somebody that likes the Thunder or they're getting into it or they notice the game or whatever, just send them a link. That would be very, very helpful. But yeah, looking forward to covering this series, covering this team, wherever it goes, and very, very thankful. All right. I think that's it. Michele, anything else before we go?
No, I'm excited. Playoffs are here, and not just this game. I mean, not the greatest games, but some nice moments here and there.
Yeah.
Like the Mavs being destroyed by James Harden, like
Oh my gosh.
shooting 4 threes in a row. But anyway,
Game 1 Harden. Shout out to Game 1 Harden.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens as that
Doesn't
series.
mean anything, but it was nice to watch.
Oh, Cody Williams declared for the draft. Like, none of these are surprising. These guys that have declared for the draft,
No.
of course, like they're
No.
but it's really cool. Oh, Brighton Snow in the chat. He had me sign his t-shirt. I felt really bad because I'm like, I'm ruining your t-shirt right now. But it was nice to meet you. Great to meet all.
Can you imagine Brighton in 20 years? You can say that you have an original. Was it the Barking Dogs shirt?
No, it was the shirt they gave away in the arena.
Oh, I see. But signed by the true one, Andrew Schlecht.
You're gonna be like, man, why did I ruin this shirt? This is such a nice shirt. Again, look for me outside the arena. Would love to meet you. Would love to have you in a video. Would love to interact with any of the dunkers here in OKC. Hope you guys have an awesome day. We'll talk to you guys again on Wednesday.